Good evening. I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory, and this is a live look at the Owensboro riverfront. A few clouds hanging around out there. You can see the last bit of sunlight fading from the skies there as the sun has now set across the tri-state. We are still under an air quality alert this evening. It will get gradually warmer and more humid then as we head toward the end of the week. Then our rain chances really start to ramp up as we get into early next week. Good evening, Suzanne. Yes, it was a pretty day. It was a little hotter though, and it was kind of stagnant, and that's part of what's contributing to this air quality alert. Our air may be unhealthy for sensitive groups up into the night tonight. So what that really means is for most of us, this is not a concern, not an issue, but someone with asthma, COPD, things like that, anyone who is really sensitive to changes in air quality, those people would need to just take it easy on a day like today. I don't think there's a lot of people out doing a lot of strenuous outdoor activities at 9 o'clock at night, so it probably doesn't have a whole lot of bearings still at this point. But I did want to mention that part of the reason that the entire state of Indiana, including all of Southwest Indiana, was under an air quality alert today is because it was hot and it was also very stagnant. We didn't have a lot of wind, and so basically any air pollution, exhaust from cars, anything like that was just kind of settling right at the surface with us. It wasn't getting kind of swept off into the atmosphere. So as that all just kind of sat with us, that's why there was this concern that ozone, if it reaches a high enough level, that that pollution basically from cars and whatnot, if it reaches a high enough level, it can cause some breathing problems for specifically those people within the group that are sensitive to changes in air quality. So that air quality alert is still in place until midnight tonight. Tomorrow is going to be breezy, and that wind is really going to help do away with any air quality issues that we have tomorrow. So that's why that air quality alert was just for today. Satellite and radar, you can see a few clouds showing up on the map there. You could see those bits of clouds there over the sunset in Owensboro in the picture I just showed you. Those clouds are overall kind of broken and fairly thin, though nothing that's producing any rain. As for our temperatures, we topped out in the mid 80s this afternoon. Now we've fallen back into the low to mid 70s in most locations. Henderson and Dundee starting to dip into the 60s now. It's 72 in Evansville and 74 in Owensboro. We'll eventually bottom out in the low to mid 60s by the end of the night tonight. Now the past couple of nights we've been dipping into the 50s, so it's not going to be quite as cool, but still dipping into the low to mid 60s by the end of the night tonight. Then tomorrow, kind of a mix of sun and clouds throughout the day. Warm with highs climbing into the mid to maybe even upper 80s, and it's also going to be breezy, especially during the afternoon, with winds from the south-southwest at around 8 to 14 miles an hour. Now Saturday will be the hottest day of the week. We'll climb into the upper 80s. I would not be at all shocked if some of us even hit 90 on Saturday. Could be our first 90 of the year if we pull that off. Notice then our temperatures dip a little bit as we get into the start of next week. That is because rain returns to the forecast, but we heat right back up by the middle of next week. Now I want to show you the dew points, the humidity trend here. It was very dry yesterday, right? Really low humidity. Then that humidity started to creep up. Today, still very manageable. It was not terribly humid out there today, still pretty pleasant, although if you were out in the sun, it did feel a little hot today. As we continue toward the weekend, notice that humidity trend continues to go up, 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 and that does coincide with rain returning to the forecast this weekend and into early next week. But notice that humidity trend then stays high even into the middle of next week, and I think by that time the rain chances will be starting to taper off. So we may get stuck with not just hot, but hot and humid weather by the middle and end of next week. Let's talk about the rain chances a little bit. We have this stationary front starting to come in from the northwest. So I still think we're going to be dry tonight, throughout the day tomorrow, and many of us may even stay dry into Saturday. My wind barbs seem to be frozen there. My wind isn't moving. But anyway, it's not the important part, so we can keep going. There's a very isolated chance of a spotty shower or storm on Saturday. I think most of the day Saturday will be dry. Many of us may end up staying dry the whole day. Then on Sunday, this frontal system starts to dip to the south, actually into the tri-state. So that will pick up our rain chances a little bit. Still, I think a good chunk of the day on Sunday is going to be dry. So you may have to dodge an isolated shower or storm, but most of the weekend looks pretty salvageable to me. Now, Monday, that's when this frontal system kind of stalls out over the tri-state. And when that happens, I think Monday is going to be our best chance of rain. Showers seem likely. We could even get a few thunderstorms, although severe weather is not expected this week. Then this stationary front starts to pivot and head back off to the northeast. And as it does so, it's going to be slow moving. So our rain chances do start to taper off, but there's still an isolated to scattered chance of rain on into Tuesday and Wednesday. Then I think by Thursday, it's going to be mostly dry, but we will have that hot air flowing in. So as that front pushes off to the northeast, hot air from the south comes in behind it to kind of fill that void, right? So that's why we see as that front comes down and then dips back up, our rain chances ramp up and then come back down, and our temperatures go down and then come back up. So as it gets drier, it also gets hotter again by the middle of next week. But I'm afraid that humidity, that might hang around for a little bit. So I'll be curious to see. We may actually have to talk heat index for like the first time this year. As we get into the middle of next week, it may start to get more of that summertime heat and humidity in the mix there. Good evening, Cheyenne and Lenny, Jeff and Ricky. Welcome to the Lion's Den. Yes, I'm filling in the Lion's Den. He's taking some well-deserved time off. He's been working a lot recently. And good evening, Sergeant from Owensboro. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's talk a little bit about the drought monitor, because that updated today and there are some cool changes there. I do want to mention what we've had for June so far, highs in the low to mid 80s. That's very normal for this time of year. We haven't had much in the way of rain. We had those showers Monday morning. That's been the only rain so far this month, but we're only 4 days in, so there is hope yet. As I just showed you, we've got rain coming in this weekend and even more so into early next week. As for our precipitation, we are running about a ½ inch short so far on the month, but on the year, we're still running 7 inches short because most of this year has been drier than normal. We just came off of a very warm, very dry spring, and we're now heading into the summer months, which are typically warmer and drier as well. I do want to point out our average temperature. Even though our highs are very, very typical for this time of year, our lows have been a little on the cool side. We've been dipping into the 50s, and that's cooler than normal for June. So that's what's bringing our average temperature down. It's not the highs during the afternoon. It's the lows overnight and into the early morning hours. We're getting colder at night than we typically would this time of year. Here's that drought monitor update I wanted to show you. So this is continuing to improve. At one point we had moderate drought across most of the tri-state, and we're all the way up into extreme drought across parts of western Kentucky. Then last week, after we had that kind of unsettled end to the month of May, we did see some improvement. We pulled back to severe drought in Kentucky and started to see parts of the tri-state pulled out of the drought entirely. Now we continue to see improvement where a large portion of the tri-state now not even considered abnormally dry anymore. And in western Kentucky, where at one point you had extreme drought, you've now been pulled all the way back to moderate drought. So across the board, we're seeing improvement with our drought conditions. As for our temperatures, I mentioned this trend of, we kind of heat things up tomorrow into Saturday, then that front moves in, the rain chances ramp up, the temperatures cool down with that rain. Then as that front starts to lift back off to the north, hotter air comes in from the south, the rain chances start to taper off, but our temperatures heat back up, and we could be flirting with 90 again by the middle of next week. The extended outlook then for the end of next week continues to show a trend toward above average temperatures, but it also shows near to maybe slightly above average precipitation. One consideration there is we don't have this kind of crisp, dry, high pressure system moving in. This past week, we had that really low humidity and clear blue skies, right, Tuesday and Wednesday. That was because of that high pressure system. I don't really see that setup this next time around. So as we kind of start to get out of this unsettled weather pattern, I don't know that we'll see the clear blue skies and the low humidity. It may still stay kind of muggy, where you've got maybe an isolated pop-up shower, a few clouds bubbling up in the heat of the afternoon. That more typical kind of steamy summertime weather may be what we're stuck with on into the end of next week. So that's something that we'll continue to monitor for you. All right, checking in on the comments here. Good evening, Jeanette, Kelly, Karen, James, Steve. James is asking about starting the 90s. I do think it's possible some of us could hit 90 Saturday. We're going to make another run at it by the middle and end of next week. And then it seems like that hotter weather may stick around for a while. So yeah, I think at some point in the next 7 to 10 days, we'll probably get our first 90 of the year. And Karen is asking about timing for that rain on Monday. I do think that it seems to be trending more toward the first half of the day, but honestly, this is going to be a scattered rain. So this is not going to be a situation where you have like a single line of storms that just rolls through and then it's over. This is going to be very scattered. It's one of those stalled out weather patterns similar to what we saw at the end of May, where you've got this front just kind of hovering over our region, and as it does, we've got just kind of scattered rain all over, not just the tri-state, but even across several states. You could have this rain kind of scattered all along that frontal boundary. So it does seem like the models right now are trending like the better chance of widespread rain would be Monday morning. But I would say be prepared that at any time during the day Monday, you could be dealing with rain. So if you're looking for a dry window on Monday, I can't really promise you that right now. It seems like the rain is going to be pretty scattered, kind of on and off all day. But the better chance of rain seems to be in the morning. I hope that answers your question. And again, we may get a few rumbles of thunder, but to address the question Zach just asked in the comments there, this looks a little worse than it is because of all the icons with the lightning bolts on it, right? If you look at the percentages here, these are not going to be total washout days. This is going to be, you get a scattered shower, you kind of dry back out, you get a shower, you dry back out. And within that, it is possible, I mean, temperatures are going to be in the 80s. There's a lot of warmth, a lot of energy in the atmosphere this time of year. Oftentimes, if you get rain, it comes with a chance of thunder. So we are not expecting severe weather this week. As of right now, obviously things can always change, but as of right now, we're not expecting severe weather over the next 7 days, but we are expecting some scattered showers, and within that, I think we could maybe get a few thunderstorms as well. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions, so I'm going to go ahead and start to wrap this up. I'll be on 14 News tonight at 10 as well, and so I hope you'll join us tonight at 10 for those of you who are staying up a little later to catch some of the latest updated headlines there, and then I'll obviously have another look at your forecast then as well. And then Byron Douglas will have the very latest headlines and weather information for you tomorrow morning on 14 News Sunrise as always. So we really appreciate you hanging out with you. Steve is asking about Aurora tonight. You know, I read something about that on the internet and I meant to look it up before I walked out here and then got distracted and totally forgot, if I'm being honest with you, Steve. Space weather is not actually anything to do with actual weather, so that's something that we don't typically check. It's not part of my daily routine to check in on what the, K index or whatever might be. So I will check on that for you though, Steve, and I'll reply to your comments so that you get an answer. But if we are expecting Aurora, I will make sure to mention that on 14 News tonight at 10. So I'll go look that up for you here in these 45 minutes I have in between, and then I'll have an update for you at 10. And if it does seem like we could see some Aurora, I'll make sure to give that a mention and highlight when the best timing for that would be. But I agree with you, Steve. I had read something about that online just earlier today, but I never got around to verifying it for myself, which is something I like to do before I bring it to you. So I'll double check on that for you, Steve, and I'll reply to your comment after I get an answer, all right? And with that, I'm going to wrap this up. Everybody enjoy the rest of your evening. Again, there's one more look at your 7-day forecast. Enjoy the hot but dry weather while we've got it, because it is going to get more humid, and then we've got those rain chances moving in this weekend and into the start of next week. So tomorrow might be the last day we have of this drier heat that we've been enjoying this week. All right. And somebody's asking, is it going to be sunny on Saturday? I just said I was going to wrap it up, and then more questions are rolling in. Is it going to be sunny on Saturday? Saturday, I'm going partly cloudy. So you'll probably see some sun on Saturday, but there will be some clouds in the mix too. Maybe a very isolated shower or thunderstorm, but most of Saturday is looking dry. So partly cloudy, maybe a stray shower, but some sunshine in the mix too. Saturday is also going to be kind of hot. We could reach upper 80s or maybe even low 90s on Saturday. So just keep that in mind on Saturday, Kayla, for whatever plans you might have. All right, I'm going to get off here and look up the information about the aurora, and I'll have that for you tonight at 10. You guys have a good rest of your night.